Well, it's Tuesday Wrestling, and you all know what that means. That means once again NWA Powerrr. This is in fact our go home show before this weekend's Sawhaim, where we have a lot of championship matches taking place. The women's championship takes place; it will be on the line. So will the women's tag team titles and various other things, and some special matches. So anything can go from here on out. But we also gonna do NXT Halloween Havoc. This is only night one from it. Of course, we have two matches that involve the spin the wheel, make the deal. So we have the Devil's Playground match, and of course a lights out match. But we cannot forget we do have the NXT Women's Championship on the line. Will Lyra Valkyria dethrone Becky Lynch, or the man will continue to reign supreme? We'll just find out. But first things first, in Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling continues with more of the Super Junior Tag League. We're going to see how far they can advance. Right now, we're still in the early stages. But we also have, of course, one championship match, and that is the New Japan World Television title. This time, Zack Sabre Jr. has put his title on the line against a young lion. So that's going to be interesting. So we're going to be focusing on that. And then, of course, we're going to go on with some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that either been signed or departing from the promotions, any injured wrestlers, the whole enchilada. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of reviews on pro wrestling from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere where wrestling is not as big, but it is growing. We also do some discussion videos, discuss on certain topics on either wrestlers, the matches, storylines, however we put it up. Also, we have more news updates to tell just in case if there's anything that needs to be said that I did not put on this episode. And we also have some more, also some updates alert just in case we need to do this in real time and various other things. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews. And of course, if you like this episode, please give us a click on the like button or nice comment down below. So, and let's start with our very first review, and this is from New Japan Pro Wrestling. We are now in day 2 of the best of the Super Juniors. Now, let me recap for all of you if you're new to the channel who don't follow New Japan. Let me explain what this one is. This is an annual tournament that takes place involving junior heavyweight competitors in tag team matches. So, uh, the way it goes, you win a match, you get 2 points. If you lose a match, you get 0 points. But if any case of a situation of a time limit draw, it ends up with 1 point each of both teams. So the winner does get an opportunity for a shot of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles, which are currently now being in the possession of the Bullet Club War Dogs, Drilla Maloney and Clark Connors. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on certain of the matches, but let's focus a few the ones that I do know we should pay attention. Now, the first one, I'm not going to put too much of it because, there was one match that took place that involved LIJ, consistent of Yota Tsuji, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito taking on just 5 guys consisting of Yuya Uemura, um, Taichi, and Sanada. Now, this whole thing has become a very interesting storyline. Now, if you have been aware recently, Tetsuya Naito will challenge Sanada for the IWGP World Heavyweight title at Wrestle Kingdom in January. This is something that's been going on. Now, remember, if you guys are fans of LIJ, you know, if you remember the history, Sanada used to be a member of LIJ. So basically, this is going to be interesting. But Tetsuya Naito is trying to do the one thing that was denied from a few years back. He wants to go to Wrestle Kingdom and win the title, but do the roll call at Wrestle Kingdom. If you guys are unfamiliar with the roll call, it's when he calls out all members of LIJ, such as Bushi, Shingo, Hiromu, Titan, and now Yota Tsuji. But however, much of the storyline in this match focused on Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura. Their story is that they were part of the same class together in the New Japan dojo. Now we all know where Yota Tsuji ended up during his excursion. He went to the UK for a while, then did a little stint in Mexico. As for Yuya Uemura, he come here to the States to studied under the under Shibata at the LA dojo. So that's how it was. So basically, there's always been those animosities amongst the classmates. But however, this match ended in a time limit draw, passing 20 minutes. So it didn't do any good. But you know for a fact that Yuya Uemura and Yota Tsuji will collide once again, either in tag teams or in singles competition. Now, I mentioned this before. The New Japan World Television title is on the line. Zack Sabre Jr. defends the belt, and he faces against Boltin Oleg, the young lion. Now, it's rather strange to hear Zack Sabre Jr. to give a title opportunity to a young lion. Now, you can say that it's kind of dumb out of his part, but you got to remember, he took a liking to a young lion himself, and that young lion is none other than Kosa Fujita, who, of course, we have seen has improved a lot under the direction of Zack Sabre Jr. And Zack feels like a proud father because he taught him pretty well. So, however, I have to say, Oleg really did pretty well. I'm not gonna lie, but however, the match ended in an armbar, so he had no other choice but to tap. Now let's focus now on the tournament itself, the Super Junior Tag League. Our first match, we have the DKC and Ryuichi Taguchi taking on LIJ's Titan and Bushi. Now, to be honest with you, I'm now considering as Bushi and Titan as my number one pick to win the tournament. They were so close last year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled it off this year. But however, they had to deal with Taguchi. Now, those who ever seen Taguchi, he likes to pull his pants down and teabag his opponents. He already did that with Bushi many times. But however, he did that again in the finale when he rolled him up and won. So basically, I'm sure Bushi and Titan are embarrassed that they cannot believe they got teabagged by Taguchi himself. However, apparently Taguchi and DKC, they do get 2 points. This is their first win so far in the tournament. Now, we're still in the early stages, so don't need to panic on that yet. Now, our next match, we have TMDK, Kosa Fujita and Robbie Eagles, taking on just 5 guys, Taka Michinoku and Doiki. I have to say, this is a pretty good match to tell because, as you know, I mentioned this before, Kosa Fujita, former young lion, now he is excelling what he is. Not to mention, I was a bit surprised to see Zack Sabre Jr. in their corner. So I think he wants to, make sure that, of course, Kosa Fujita succeeds. And he was able to pick up the win when he pinned Taka Michinoku. You know Zack Sabre Jr. is proud of his protege, learning a lot from him. So basically, we will see how far they progress as a tag team from here on out. But however, they did not win in the day one of the tournament, but this is their first win as well as a tag team. But as for just 5 guys, Taka and Doiki, well, they did not win in their first match in the day one of the tournament, and neither did this one on day 2. So that's kind of suck in some capacity. But we'll see how that progresses from here on out. Our third match, we have the very interesting duo of Master Wato and El Desperado. They take on Musashi and Yo. So basically, the beginning of the whole match before it started, Masushi and Yo were like, I don't know if were mocking Desperado and Wato because they're not getting on the same page. I'm not sure, but however, it was a pretty good match. But unfortunately, that this match ended with Yo applying a direct drive on Wato, giving them their first win so far. But however, they get 2 points on this one. But Despy and Wato, they still remain in 2 points because they did win on day one. So, like I said, we're still in the early stages of the tournament. Now, our next match, we have those pricks, the House of Torture, once again. Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Yo, they take on the Jet Setters. Now you know how this whole thing with the House of Torture rolls. Freaking evil, Dick Togo, and of course, Yujiro were going to show up like always. But unlike previously, where they were unsuccessful defeating LIJ, apparently the Jet Setters were no match. But unfortunately, of course, the whiskey was in play by Kanemaru on certain occasions until Sho decided to apply the shock arrow, giving them the win. Now, of course, Sho and Kanemaru are confident enough to believe they will walk out as the winners. They get a shot of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. We'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match, this is a bit of a rivalry between these two teams. Catch 2-2 of the United Empire. Francesco Akira and TJP taking on the Bullet Club War Dogs, taking on Drilla Maloney and Clark Connors. Now, if you guys remember, not too long ago, we did witness, of course, Drilla Maloney. He first came to New Japan when he was recruited by none other than Will Ospreay. And of course, Maloney, who had enough of their crap, decided to turn against them by siding with Bullet Club War Dogs. I'm sure deep down, United Empire will love nothing more to break him, make him pay for his betrayal. But however, Maloney has no remorse for what he did. You probably can say they did everything exactly right, the United Empire, to win. However, that was not enough. Apparently, these guys, with their instincts together as a team, were successful until they applied the full clip onto TJP. It was over. But of course, like any typical war dog, they attack Common Newman, who had nothing to do with the match. But however, Henare and of course Great Khan, who were on their respected commentaries, Henare with Chris Carlton, and of course Great Khan at the Japanese commentary team, were not going to let that stand. But however, the Bullet Club War Dogs are sending a direct message that no matter what they think, nothing's going to work in their favor. So we will see how this progresses. But however, I don't think the United Empire can fully recover from this type of ordeal, knowing that no matter if they try to get revenge against Maloney, I don't think it will be enough. But we will see how that storyline progresses from here on out. So I think that's pretty much it with New Japan. I believe it's time to move on with NWA. Okay, NWA Powerrr. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is their go-home show before they head to Sawhaim, which is going to take place in I don't remember, in Ohio somewhere, but many of their championship matches will be taking place. Now, our opening match, we have EC3 along with his protege Jordan Clearwater. They take on Cal Hero and Lash Moore. Now, I have seen Cal Hero before, but Lash Moore don't know nothing about. But I figured that this match was definitely going to go in favor of EC3 and Jordan Clearwater because A, EC3 is the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion, so it would fall under him when he applied the purpose onto Moore, the pickup to win. Now, during an interview with Sam Laterna, she interviews our current NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion Kobe Carino. As you know, he will be facing against Joe Alonzo. However, a bit of discrepancies over the fact that Jamie Stanley plays manager for both. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But I'm sure Colby Corino will definitely remain as a champion. I think many fans will love to see that. But however, he wasn't the only one there. He had, of course, the Immortals, Kratos and Odinson. But they will get another crack. They did say they will get another crack at the current United States Tag Team Champions, Daisy Kills and Talos. So we probably could see that. I would love to see those two win those tag titles because they seem like a very stable team. But we'll see what happens until then. Now, not too long ago, we did see a stipulation to take place in NWA. As you know, the war between La Rebellion and Vampiro taking on the Brothers from Funstruction and Violent J has risen higher as possible. However, there was a stipulation match that took place. Apparently, unfortunately, it was, of course, the Yabo the Clown who picked up the win. But however, Violent J revealed what kind of match is going to be at Samhain. Well, it turns out he decided to go into a riddle box match. So basically, the idea is in the box, anything could be in there. All kinds of weapons and other cool things that he probably would enjoy. So we'll see how that will take place this weekend. Now, our next match, we have the Fixers versus Knox and Murdoch. Now, you probably can guess this is going to make Murdoch and Knox to get their technique sharpened because, as you know, they'll take another crack at the blunt force trauma for the tag team titles that were denied thanks to that weasel Aaron Stevens. But however, once again, of course, we saw Knox and Murdoch proven once again why they are a dominant tag team and the reason they are the winners of this year's Crockett Cup tournament. They actually took out Wrecking Ball of Brisky with the high-low, and it was over right from there. But of course, they did have an interview, and apparently the same old story. We'll see how that turns out. Now, there was a segment with Gags the Gimp in some room. Apparently, he was visited by none other than Father James Mitchell, or known as Mr. the Sinister Minister, along with Judas. Apparently, as you know, if Gags the Gimp and Sal the Pal win their match, Father James Mitchell said that we will welcome you back with open arms. However, Sal the Pal is not too keen on that. But however, I think Father James Mitchell is trying to convince Gags that you two need to come home. So the obvious question is, will Gags do it? We just wait until Samhain. Now, we do see all members of Pretty Empower, our current NWA Women's Tag Team Champions, Ella Envy and Kylie Page, along with the current NWA Women's World Champion, Kenzie Page. They take on Samantha Starr, Ruth J, and The Woad. Now, Ruth J will face Kenzie Page at Samhain for the title. However, you probably saw how effective and Pretty Empower has been in this entire match. They were able to pick up the win thanks to Kylie when she applied the code Kylie onto The Woad to pick up the match. But however, someone from their past showed up asking for a second opportunity, and that is Roxy. But however, apparently they were not having it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Roxy gets involved in their matches at Samhain, either on the tag team side or Kenzie's side. I don't know. We'll see what that turns up. Now, Ruthie J, on the other hand, does know the kind of person Kenzie Page will be at Samhain, so she is going to be well prepared. But I don't believe that she will be the one to dethrone her. But I'd have to say she'll put up one hell of a match. I can say honestly say that. Now, our next match, we do see, of course, Jeremiah Plumpkin and Mario Pudaro take on Magic Inc. Pretty good match. We have seen Magic Inc. has been very well established. I forgot who was one of the tag team members involved, but he picked up a good win when he pinned Pudaro. Now, the Southern Six did an interview, of course, with Kyle Davis at the podium, determining what their plans are. It appears that Carrie Morton has his sights set on the NWA World Heavyweight title. I don't know if he is ready for that, but we'll see what that takes place. Now, our main event features the Blunt Force Trauma taking on a couple of wrestlers I don't even recognize. I don't even know who they are. But I can tell you that this match ended in their favor. But once the match was over, Murdoch and Knox appeared to attack them. They were this close in hurting Aaron Stevens, but Aaron Stevens had a hold on them, saying if they touch him, they will not get their title shot. I'm sure they have something up their sleeves to ensure that Aaron Stevens does not get involved once and for all. So we'll just see what happens this coming weekend at Sawhaim. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for NWA Powerrr. I believe it's time for our last and final review, NXT Halloween Havoc. Okay, our final review, NXT Halloween Havoc. This is only night one of this particular event. It opened up with our hosts who were running the show, Shotzi and Scarlett Bordeaux. I thought they did a pretty good job opening the show. However, our opening match is the Devil's Playground, Roxanne Perez versus Kiana James. Now, you know the Devil's Playground is going to be a brutal match. Now, don't forget, Roxanne Perez has been brutal before when she faced against Blair Davenport. But the honest question is, can Kiana James pull it off since she targeted Roxanne Perez because she's been at the top of the mountain before? However, Roxanne Perez really gave her so much of a beating, but she applied a pop rocks onto her with her bag that had contained a brick into it, taking her out completely. So that was crazy right from there. Now, next week, as you know, we have the NXT Championship match on the line. We do have, of course, Carmelo Hayes versus Dragunov. Now, the commentator Vic decided to have an interview with each person. However, Vic knew that he had to get this one out of the way because of the elephant of the room. The elephant is who attacked Trick Williams. Many people are pointing the fingers at Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes claims that he had nothing to do with it. So that's what he said. So many of the I think the entire story they're saying with Mello, is he the one who really attacked Trick Williams? Because there was the honest question. If the result was different, let's say that Trick never got hurt, will have been Carmelo Hayes to ensure that he wins. Hayes is confident to believe it would have been him that walked out. He believed in himself that he would have walked out even if Trick was there. So we'll see where that goes until next week. Now, Scarlett Bordeaux were doing a little one of those tarot cards. If you guys remember, they kind of tell you your future, your fortune, whatever they do. Metaphor was there. Apparently, something drastic was about to happen with them, and they didn't believe it. But unaware to them, because they brought the NXT Heritage Cup with them, it was stolen by Akira Tosawa. They did not believe that this was going to happen, so they didn't think that the tarot cards were telling the truth. However, they did not find out later on that it was Tosawa who stole the cup. However, he did send a text message letting him know, I have it, but if you want it back, you got to come with me and play a little Scooby-Doo. So basically, they're in a haunted mansion. I'm not sure it's the same kind of haunted mansion that Dexter Lumis used last time. So we will see how that rolls up as well. Now, our next match is the debut of Lexis King, formerly known as Brian Pillman Jr. So this was a very interesting match. His opponent against is Danton Chen. Now the storyline they're building up with him saying that he's nothing compared like his father. Well, that kind of did. He did pull off a pretty good, impressive debut. So we will see how that will play out. Now, our next match is the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. This is the semifinals. We have Kalani Jordan taking on Ariana Grace. I have to say, I am sold on Kalani Jordan on several occasions. I mean, she's very impressive. She is, I believe, a rising star to me in the NXT brand. But as you know, she has a long way to go. So I have to say it was a pretty good match. She did pick up the win by a split moonsault, fantastic win. So we will see who will win the other semifinal from here on out. Now, Von Wagner, as you know, he is still recovering after that brutal ordeal he had with Braun Breaker, but of course he's concerned for the safety and well-being of Mr. Stone. Stone understands what he got himself into, but he said that he wasn't going to let Braun Breaker get away for what he did to his friend, and Von was very touched that Mr. Stone looked at him as a friend, and I think that gives him the motivation, saying there are people that do really care about him. So he's worried that this is going to happen, but I have that distinct feeling there's going to be something that's going to happen at night 2 of Halloween Havoc. Now, Shotzi Blackheart and Scarlett, as you know, the hosts, were out there doing their thing until they were surprised by the Creed brothers, who, as you know, are not happy what happened a week ago with Humberto and Angels costing them the opportunity for another shot of the tag team title. So, however, Shotzi said this, that she understands what we're saying, but this match between them doesn't need to be a regular tag team match, and Scarlett agreed. So they decided to spin the deal, make the deal, and that was done by none other than Ivy Nile, and of course, the Creed brothers, they have no objection to it. And it turned out to be a tables and ladders and scares. So I'm sure they're happy with that result. I can't wait to see how that is going to be. Now, our next match, we do have the NXT tag team titles on the line. The family, Stax, and of course, Tony D'Angelo taking on Chase Hughes, Duke Hudson, and Andre Chase. Now, you probably would have assumed that the family will retain the titles. However, things drastically change. JZ Jane was intending to have Andre Chase use a crowbar against Tony D. But however, at a moment, JZ Jane was on top of the ring, caused a bit of confusion for Tony D'Angelo, but it did cause for Andre Chase to pin D'Angelo. I'm sure they're not happy how the results it's going to be, but however, the facts remain. Chase U actually won the tag titles. Later on, we did see a little celebration with them, but they were brutally interrupted by the current WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. We're talking about Piper Nivens and Chelsea Green. But however, JZ Jane and DL thought, you put those tag titles on the line. So basically, it later became official. It's going to happen next week on night 2. Now, Nathan Frazier, with his little concept, the hard-hitting truth, he goes out saying a lot of things about Dominic, saying that you can't do anything without mommy. So he had a lot of things. But next week, it's now become official. It turns out for night 2, Frazier will get a crack at the North American title, and Dominic will probably say that the results will be the same. He will walk out as the champion. Now, during an interview with Mackenzie, Baron Corbin, who was not happy with the result of last week, but the obvious question they did ask, did he had anything to do with, of course, with Trick Williams? Now, Corbin says that he doesn't need to beat him. So, I mean, I'm kind of inclined to think he's right. He doesn't need to take him out, not to put him in this match. But the obvious question does tell. He points out the finger. Trick is not my problem. He is Melo's problem. So all fingers are pointed at him. So that's always been the clear case right there. Now, our next interview, we do see Tiffany Stratton, who, as you know, last year was in the final, was the runner-up for the NXT Breakout tournament winner. However, she was interrupted by a Fallon Henley dressed up as Tiffany Stratton, tried to strike a nerve onto her, in which it resulted into a brawl between the two. So that was going to be interesting to see. So I can't wait to see what happens next. Now, our next match is the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament semifinal. Lola Vice versus Carmen Petrovic. Pretty good match, not gonna lie. Both women have similar styles. Petrovic has a martial arts style, Lola Vice an MMA style. I think that's a perfect combination to put them in the match. But however, it was the spinning heel kick that put away Petrovic and give Lola Vice the chance to win. However, next week she will face against Jordan Kalani for the to win the Breakout tournament. I think that's going to be one interesting matchup we definitely don't want to miss. Now, during the backstage segment, as you know, Carmelo Hayes once again has been looked at as the suspect of the brutal attack of Trick Williams. However, Braun Breaker, he has that same belief that maybe you did it. Because you know me, Mello, you know me, I'm capable of doing whatever it takes to win. So the obvious question is Braun Breaker right? I mean, he would do whatever it takes to win, to ensure that it will fall in his favor. Is Mello that kind of person that would do the same thing? Well, we just gotta wait and see. So we'll see what happens next week. Now, before our beginning of the NXT Women's Championship, we had a surprise visitor, and I know a lot of WWE loyalists are happy with her being there. You probably are mocking or saying negative comments towards AEW. Yes, Jade Cargill was watching. So you know that she'll probably be scouting this match. So it's no secret for anybody, especially for someone like Jade Cargill. Now our main event is the NXT Women's Championship. Two women from Ireland facing off each other. You can say this is a moment for the people of Ireland to see their hometown countrywomen face off each other. And we all know Becky Lynch's reputation has been far extended from what we already know and seen over the years. But Lyra Valkyria is a rising star. I have to say, what a match. It did tell a really good story. And I think Lyra Valkyria is one of those wrestlers we definitely had to pay attention to. But oh man, she picked up an amazing win, becoming the brand new NXT Women's Champion when she pinned Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch couldn't believe it, but she gave her the respect she needed because, of course, someone did take out the man, dethrone the man, and that is over right from there. So I can't wait to see what happens next week, as you know, for night 2. But as for Lyra Valkyria as Women's Champion, you know she's going to have a target in her back. Tiffany Stratton will love nothing more to get her title back. Jade Cargill has been paying attention. So who knows how this is going to roll up with her. So I think that's pretty much it right now with, of course, NXT. Let's move on with our final thing, and that is news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have for all of you so far. As you know, Wrestling Revolver already announced their final show of the year, and that is season finale. That will take place on the 2nd of December. They did announce the debut of Grizzled Young Veterans, formerly known as the Dyads. So they are, in fact, going to be involved in the show. However, their debut match, you can call it a dream match. The Grizzled Young Veterans take on the Rascals. I'm so pumped for that. Now, as for more information on this particular event, the Monster Hunter Matthew Palmer will be in action for that particular show. So will be the Bounty Hunter Brian Keith. However, another match was announced. It's a title versus title match. The remix title being held by Alex Shelley. He'll defend that belt, and he will face the current Revolver World Champion, and that is none other than Jay Chris. So that's going to be interesting. I know that the Revolver fan base will be rooting for Jay Chris because, you know, Alex Shelley represents prestige, and I think that's something that they do not want. Now, if you guys have been aware of, I did mention every time I start this episode, say that wrestling is growing, even though that wherever location they're at, it's not that big. And one of those countries are in fact Spain, with their promotion known as RCW Spain. They did recently announce for the upcoming World Cup tournament taking place this weekend on the 21st of October. Now, there are several names I did mention, but however, more names were already been announced for this. So let me iterate which names have they been announced for this. We have Sara Leone, Becca Scott, JC Storm, Nina Samuels, who you guys remember from NXT. Alice Inc., who I believe is going to be facing, I'm not sure if it's the one facing, of course, Utami Ashita. We do have Becca, Alexia Nicole. You remember her from Impact Wrestling prior before the pandemic. Aurora, I don't know much about her. And then, of course, also from NXT UK, the French Hope, Amel. I'm so happy to hear from her. However, two more names were surprisingly announced. One of them is coming from Marvelous. That is Mio Momono. She is going to participate at the World Cup for at the RC Spain, but she's not the only Yoshi wrestler going to Spain. If you guys want to know who's going to be involved, and that is Yen. That's right, Unagi Sayaka. This will be her first time going outside to another country that is not the U.S. So that's going to be interesting. I'm very happy to hear that she's going to there. So I'm very happy for that. Now, a very interesting thing was surprising that Lucha Libre Online posted not too long ago. As you know, we did see, of course, um, we all know about CM Punk. Many people are determined that he will be heading to WWE. But however, Billy Corgan or William Patrick Corgan from NWA had this thing to say about the potentially having CM Punk in his promotion. Now, I know some of you are gonna say they cannot afford him. Well, I will generally agree with you. But this is what he had to say. The man loves pro wrestling. He may not like the pro wrestling business, but he sure does love pro wrestling. My only attraction to Punk would be if you want to have some fun, I cannot pay you what you're worth. But if you want some fun, come have fun at NWA and we'll kick ass, laugh. I'll buy you vegan sandwich, Billy Corgan. So it appears that Billy Corgan is interesting in him. Now remember, CM Punk had no intentions when he joined AEW to be world champion, but of course, it was the only thing they needed for, of course, to stabilize AEW, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if CM Punk is willing to do that, but only we will know what he decides. So we'll see about that. Now, a former WWE star who not too long ago was released from the company is now serving as a AEW producer, and that is Scott Garland, or as we know him, Scotty 2 Hotties. So he is now working as an AEW producer. Good for him. I think we definitely need people like that in AEW, and I think many of you may agree to that. Now, as you know, in December, we do have the collaboration between Tokyo Pro Wrestling and Prestige for Combat Princess. They just recently announced Moka Miyamoto will be involved in this show. I don't think she was involved in the LA show they had this year, but it's great that she'll be involved too. Now, speaking of Prestige, a match was announced for their a live show taking place next month. We do have Stephen Wolf taking on SoCal local Jordan Cruz. So I'm looking forward to that. Pro Wrestling Noah has announced that Seiki Yoshioka will have his last match on the 28th of October. Now, Seiki Yoshioka said that there'll be new challenges that he's going to be doing to go on his hiatus. I wouldn't be surprised if those challenges that he's going to move up weight class. Now, it's not uncommon to hear junior heavyweight competitors move up weight class. We saw that with Kenny Omega. We saw that with Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi, so that sort of thing. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, at the House of Glory for the Darkest Hours, I hate to say this, Charles Mason retained the Crown Jewel Championship from House of Glory, but his former bodyguard that he used to pay, Carlos Ramos, has issued the challenge. So it will take place at the Darkest Hour show on the 1st of December. GCW has announced for another show that will take place, Going and Going, that will take place on the 17th in Seattle. However, they announced for Maki Death Kill will be there, and so is Deathmatch Royalty. So that is, of course, Deathmatch Royalty consists of Matt Cardona and Steph the Landers. Now, Will Wrestling Revolver made some interesting report, it turns out that WWE have an interest in Will Ospreay. Now, keep in mind his contract with New Japan will be coming to an end. Of course, Will Ospreay will probably have an opportunity, but it turns out that he is now in the agency of Barry Bloom, Kenny Omega, and I forgot who else is in that same agency. But yes, that's what has been announced. So we don't know yet. Now, keep in mind, WWE or AEW are not permitted to talk while he's still under contract. But I'm sure once his contract is over, they'll make the offer to see what's going to happen until then. Now, for all you Tokyo Pro Wrestling fans out there, if you guys remember, not too long ago, Yuka Sakazaki announced that she'll be graduating from Tokyo Pro Wrestling. Now, let's reiterate what that means in terms in Japanese. Graduation doesn't mean that you're retiring. It means that I'm ending my career in this promotion and moving on to the next. So basically, in enlightened terms, Yuka Sakazaki made her decision that she'll be leaving the promotion. Her plans are for her to come to the States. She is very popular down here, especially with the AEW fan base. Don't forget, Yuka Sakazaki was involved in the very first AEW pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, back in 2019 when she teamed up with Aja Kong and Ami Sakura. So it would make sense that would be. But recently she's been injured. She had to relinquish the tag titles with Mizuki and all that. But it's already been announced that her last official match will be on December 6th. So, but that day will also serve as her graduation day. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of emotional tears and all this other stuff with many people. So, but yeah, so we'll see how that rolls up. Now, finally, by the time this video is out, it will be, of course, October 25th. Today is, in fact, the Breakout's birthday, Kamille. So happy birthday, Kamille. I'm sure we're going to see you this Saturday supporting your husband at Sawhaim. Hopefully he becomes the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So we'll see what happens until then. But for now, let's just end things as it is with our news updates and everything else and call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we do have AEW Dynamite. However, we do have more on the Best of the Super Junior. No, not Best of the Super Junior. My bad. Super Junior Tag League taking place. We have more, so this is day 3. Now, however, I was planning to review the latest Gleech show, but I think on the next episode it would be a perfect opportunity to do that. And of course, day 2 of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League, I will definitely do that too. But I'll try to do those as soon as possible. But for now, hope you guys just enjoy this episode. And from here on out, we'll see what happens. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time on this DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.